Santa! Oh my God! If you're feeling strong, my friend, call me Elf one more time. He's an angry elf. Hello YouTube, Film Buff 06 here. Before I start, I want to apologise for a ridiculously long absence during this month on the channel, and the reason why I haven't made that many videos for the past 3 weeks is because I've had to do a casual festive job down at the nearest Royal Mail. So really, I've been working tirelessly, sorting out the mail for everyone during the festivities. So and I very much enjoyed the job. It was a really good experience doing it, and yeah, there we go. Now in this video, I'm going to be reviewing only one Christmas movie this year. Long story short, I was actually going to review this movie this time last year, but didn't really have the chance to do so, admittedly, so I'm making up for that by reviewing it this year. Anyway, the Christmas movie that I'm reviewing is one of my all-time favourites and a true Christmas classic, Elf, which was released in 2003, was written by David Berenbaum, was directed by Jon Favreau, who of course went on to direct the first 2 Iron Man movies with Robert Downey Jr., as well as Cowboys and Aliens with Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig, and is also at the moment working on the new Jungle Book movie that is coming out at some point next year, and it stars Will Ferrell, James Caan, otherwise known as Sonny Corleone from the Godfather movies, Zooey Deschanel before she became a fully fledged Hollywood superstar, and before her recent role in the TV comedy series New Girl, Mary Steenburgen, Ed Asner, who of course is best known to Pixar fans for voicing Carl Fredricksen in Up, Bob Newhart, best known as the voice of Bernard in the 2 Rescuers movies for Disney, Faizon Love, and Peter Dinklage, before he became well known for his role as Tyrion Lannister in Game of Thrones. Now, the story of Elf is a very sweet and simplistic fish-out-of-water one. Ever since he was a baby at an orphanage who crawled into Santa's sack one Christmas Eve night 30 years prior, Buddy, played by Will Ferrell, has been raised by Santa's elves at the North Pole, specifically by Papa Elf, played by Bob Newhart, and brought up to believe over time that he is a bona fide Christmas elf. However, he begins to realise that he doesn't quite fit in with the other elves due to his physically large size and also his struggles to keep up the pace in terms of making Christmas toys. Buddy then finds out that he is actually human and decides to travel all the way to New York City in search of his biological father, Walter, played by James Caan, who works as a publishing editor at the Empire State Building, and who also turns out to be a Scrooge or Grinch-like workaholic who, according to Santa, is firmly on the naughty list because he has made a living out of devoting himself more to his work than to his wife Emily, played by Mary Steenburgen, and his preteen son Michael. While Buddy is relentlessly trying to reconnect with his father and his family, to the former's annoyance anyway, to the former's annoyance, not only does he try to fit in a frankly cynical world that looks at him in this silly-looking elf costume as if he's completely nuts, not only does he end up falling in love with a cute toy store employee named Jovi, voiced by Zooey Deschanel, but he also eventually assists Santa, played by Ed Asner, in making his sleigh fly by attempting to make everyone feel the Christmas spirit and believe in Santa again. And that's about it. Now, in order to achieve the effect of the actors playing the elves to appear smaller than Will Ferrell and Ed Asner, the filmmakers used a practical effect known as forced perspective, which was previously used in other movies such as Citizen Kane, Hook, the Harry Potter movies, and especially the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Plus the design of the elf costumes, Santa's workshop, and some of the stop-motion animation that is used in the movie was intended to pay homage to some of the classic Rankin Bass Christmas specials that used to air in the late 80s to the late 60s to early 70s, such as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So, what are my thoughts on Elf? Is it really as good as everyone says it is? And if so, does it deserve the honour of being one of the greatest Christmas films of all time? based on opinion, my one-word answer to this is obviously yes. Elf is such a consistently hilarious, heartwarming, and just awesome movie that works on so many levels for both kids and adults alike, and instantly gets you right into the Christmas spirit every time you watch it. It felt like a live-action Disney or Pixar film being brought to life, if that makes any sense. The story, while being a tad predictable, feels quite original and inventive. David Berenbaum's screenplay is just smartly written, with clever jokes sprinkled throughout, and including nice little references to classic Christmas films and TV specials, like for example, the Rankin Bass Christmas specials, Miracle on 34th Street, and It's a Wonderful Life, just to name a few. Jon Favreau's direction is absolutely fantastic in this movie, brilliantly showing us why he is one of the most underrated filmmakers working in Hollywood today. The cinematography and location work in New York is superb. The production design is great. The costume design is fantastic. The visual effects are great, not only during the North Pole scenes, which take up the first 15 minutes of the film, but also especially during the snowball fight scene where, Buddy squares off against a small group of school bullies, I think they were. The score by John Debney is just very nostalgic and instantly gets you right into the Christmas spirit every time you hear it. It has that sort of, Christmassy, it sort of has this sort of Christmassy feel to it in a way. The pacing is just perfect and never drags or bores you for a second. But what really makes this film is the acting. Will Ferrell is just fantastic and completely steals the show in what is widely considered to be one of his best remembered roles as Buddy the Elf. Why he didn't get a Best Actor nomination at the Oscars is beyond me. His naivete, his lovable cluelessness, his childlike curiosity and innocence, his being completely oblivious to everyone around him. Everything that went into this performance is just phenomenally funny to watch on screen, and it reminded me very much of Mr. Bean if he dressed up like a Christmas elf, was taught how to talk more intelligibly, and became American. James Caan is also perfectly cast as the no-nonsense, cynical father who refuses to believe that this guy in an elf costume could possibly be his long-lost son. Zooey Deschanel is charming in her charming in her role, and damn can she sing. Especially evident during the scene where she sings "Baby, It's Cold Outside" in the shower. The supporting cast, including Mary Steenburgen, Ed Asner, Bob Newhart and Peter Dinklage, all do great jobs in their roles as well. There are so many hilarious classic scenes in this movie that are instantly memorable. There is the scene where Buddy attempts to hug the raccoon and the raccoon ends up attacking him. Also the moment during the montage where Buddy, sort of runs around the revolving door and ends up throwing up in the nearest bin. There is the moment in Walter's office where Buddy says, "What's a Christmas gram? I want one." Followed shortly by, "I like to whisper too." There is the scene in the toy store when Buddy sort of accidentally exposes the fake Santa. There is also the scene where he eats spaghetti with maple syrup and proceeds to belch for at least 12 seconds after drinking a full bottle of Coca-Cola. There is the scene where Buddy is helping Michael to decorate their Christmas tree by trying to get the star on top, but ends up jumping onto the tree and falls down with the tree while Michael isn't looking. And of course, two of my most favourite scenes from the movie. The first being, Buddy's instant reaction to Santa telling him that his father is on the naughty list, and where he says, "No!" That was just freaking priceless. And my other favourite scene is the one where Walter and his work colleagues are having a business meeting with a temperamental children's author named Miles Finch, the Peter Dinklage character, who is obviously a dwarf, and I don't mean to be dwarfist or anything. Anyway, and consequently, Buddy unintentionally mistakes him for an elf, which then leads into a comical fight between Miles and between Finch and Buddy. Speaking of which, there is an alternate version of this sequence which involves Buddy, getting his head smashed in, and Buddy actually managing to bite Finch on the arm before, Finch storms out of the meeting room after delivering one of the most hilarious lines I have ever heard in my life. "Nobody bites Miles Finch." And Miles Finch much. And this features within, and this alternate version you can find within the deleted scenes on the DVD on disc 2. But in the finished film, it was decided by Favreau and New Line Cinema that some of the violence within that scene had to be toned down to not only retain the PG rating, but also to not make it, you know, too inappropriate for young kids. I can sort of understand why they made this decision, but in my personal opinion, if I were to be completely honest and straight, that version of the scene was so hilarious that they should have kept it in the movie. But oh well, you know. But oh well, what's done is done, I suppose. If you want to watch if you want to watch a movie that will really get you into the Christmas spirit and warm your heart all year round, please go and check this movie out. I just cannot really recommend it. I cannot really recommend it highly enough. And if you don't like this movie, then something is just seriously wrong with you. Anyway, in conclusion, my overall rating for Elf is an awesome-tacular and perfect 10 out of 10, with a side order of spaghetti, maple syrup, and sugar plums. Now, feel free to leave a comment in the section below and let me know your personal thoughts on Elf, and also let me know what your personal favourite Christmas movie is. Plus, feel free to subscribe to my channel. And until my next video, which is going to obviously be my Christmas collection update video for 2014, which again obviously won't be up until at some point later on tomorrow night. Anyway, until then, do take care, and you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Merry Christmas, everyone.